Hello, I'm Vlad Sparastoria and I know about shooting. Today I'm testing a new optic that Vector Optics sent me, their Sentinel-X model. I specifically requested it for a simple reason. As you know, I work full-time at the National Shooting Range in Legnano. Before that, I worked at another shooting range, the Magnum in Poznan, Poland. In my remaining time, I mainly make YouTube videos about shooting. The time I have to shoot on my own when I'm not at work or in front of a camera is very little. I shoot on my own, often less than I would like, and lately I've been rediscovering this pleasure a little bit. Yes, it's true that you pay less, but there are fewer videos. Lately on the channel I've been keeping myself pretty busy, but I'm also rediscovering this shooting in small moments. Also because preparing a video, even just filming all these things, takes a lot of hours. While often shooting is just a matter of a little time, much less time than it takes to make a video. And besides practicing with the pistol, lately I've been rediscovering the pleasure of shooting with the rifle. Also because the older fans of the channel remember this. I've always said and stated that if I have a big gap when it comes to practical shooting, it's definitely precision shooting, especially at long distance. Since I'm at home here at the Legnano shooting range, I thought it would be perfect to take a rifle and a .22. Pair them with a nice scope to practice precision shooting as much as possible, which I hope I can eventually apply, maybe with heavier calibers at longer distances. Here in Legnano, we have 50 meters, and in Poland, I also had 50 meters. So when I get the chance to shoot, it's almost always at relatively short distances. But as many of you well know, what kind of training can a .22 caliber rifle provide? And we know the great accuracy of these weapons. They're excellent for doing what I want to do. But exactly, if one day you want to aim for much greater distances, you need to use a scope. So I asked my friends at Vector Optics to send me something that's really suitable for ultra-precision shooting. So they sent me their Sentinel-X. That's the CZ452, which right now has a great scope, with variable magnification from 10 up to even 40. That's a respectable magnification. Now let's fire a few shots. By the way, I'm using a CZ452-2E. I love the 452S and can finally call this one mine, because it's a weapon I've wanted for a very long time and I've really missed having it. My very first shooting experiences were actually with a CZ452. I've always had a great fondness for this weapon system. We use Cellier Velo Club, a decent training ammunition, fairly inexpensive despite normally decent performance. The scope should be zeroed. You see, zeroing it was really problematic. When I had to zero it, damn it, I couldn't figure out where the shots were going. Now it should hit the center. Let's warm up the barrel since it's really cold, about 2 degrees as you can see from my breath. And yes, in case you're wondering, I'm just wearing a sweatshirt. Let's fire a few shots. I hope you can see it on the monitor so we can try to figure out where this weapon is hitting. Meanwhile, I'll use the rear rest for support. I hope you can see it. Maybe the target isn't really suitable right now for a rifle like this, but honestly, it's just what I had available. Don't hold it against me. If you have some imagination, any target is fine for practice. Let's fire a few more shots. Right now, the zoom I'm using is at its maximum, 40 also because I left it that way since I zeroed it in. And keep one thing in mind. Huh? Damn, hole in the hole. We did it with one thing in mind, just to give you an idea. With the zoom, just to give you a comparison, a pretty bold comparison, but with the 40x zoom from 50 meters away, I see the target with my eye more or less as if I were looking at it right now from 1 meter away. So it's a very significant zoom. People often don't realize how much, especially if they don't use this kind of optics, weapons actually zoom in or not. Thank you. I'm not even sure if I should click below. Keep in mind that the adjustment of this optic is in eighths of minute of angle, so 1/8 of a minute of angle, which translated, if we do a little bit of math, at 50 meters, the point of impact, if I move it by one click, should shift by something like less than 2 mm, so it's a very sensitive adjustment. You know what? Let's try to do it. Let's try to lower it, because I'm aiming at the center of the circle. And keep in mind that now this is ultra zoomed in. These are ultra zoomed in targets. Right now, staying in there isn't exactly easy. Let's try a click down. There you go, it clicked. Let's see what happens. And it went up. I hope I turned it in the right direction because I'm a bit out of it, you know? Look at Honra. Is this the rod that's starting to mess with me, or am I the one pulling too hard? What do you think? I took the first shots pretty slowly. At these distances with this kind of precision, it takes very little to make a mistake. Anyway, the view through the scope is extremely clear. What I personally would have preferred is a slightly thicker reticle, because that's what my eyes are used to. I chose markings that are quite large and clear. It's just my personal preference, so I don't think it's a matter of a visual impairment. But if you think about it from a philosophical point of view, how can you know that you see things exactly the same way as another person does? Who determines what green or black actually are? Maybe I'm not clear, but it's possible our eyesight differs more than we think. So, I believe those initial shots inside the hole were mainly about that. First, then I'll win the races, but today is not that day. Say. By the way, the temperature isn't really helping me because every breath I take slightly fogs up the lens. Yeah, they're all there. I think we calibrated it well. It's tough to mess up. I want to show you inside the reticle, but it's hard to capture. See, good, it's a mess trying to do it on camera, but let's see if I can show you. How do you zoom in? Here we are. This is at 10x, so our target is at 50 meters, and this is how we see it clearly now, inside. The optics, looking with the human eye, are a little different, but this is more or less the level of zoom we can get. Psi. Obviously, by zooming in, the focal distance changes. As you can see, this is at 40x. Another thing that is very important and adjustable in this optic is the parallax. Now, what is parallax? Can we give a technical explanation? Parallax is basically an adjustment to the target's focus that needs adapting. Currently, it's set to about 50 meters, but is that correct? You see that by turning the parallax knob, our reticle changes drastically. So with a good focus now, we can also rely on what the knob indicates. But a good focus clearly also depends on things like visual impairment. Another adjustment that can be hidden under this ring, which protects the lens, is another focus adjustment, which helps us a little with the focal distance psi. Now, I don't know how much you can see, but this mainly helps with the focal distance, so how far you keep your eye away. We're a little off center because you can't see very well with this shot, but I want to try the impossible a little bit. And nothing. I guess we can't see it like this. Gee, here's our impact point that we lost. Of course, aiming the weapon like this, you have no idea how hard it is. Especially showing it to you on the camera. Here it is. It lost another little spot. C'est assez. I'm having a great time, and I'm going to have a great time because finally with this, I'll be able to do what my heart has wanted for such a long time. But it's a bit strange to say that I'll have a little more fun with what has always been my great passion. The scope is performing superbly, it's well mounted, it's well zeroed, and it's perfectly maintaining its zero. I'll be curious, of course, to test it in other conditions, maybe when there's a bit more sun and it's a little less cold outside. But surely, since it's my weapon with my scope, which I intend to shoot with, I'll keep you updated. As for its use, for now I think it's a 100% spot-on choice. As for mounting a more powerful scope on a precision shooting rifle, I have no regrets at all about the choice I made with vector optics. I don't particularly like singing. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, see you next time. Sigh.